welcome everyone to our 2020 HIAMFT general membership meeting. We're required in our bylaws to do this once a year, but I would do this anyway because I just think it's so important for us to be able to connect. And that's sort of been the theme, I think, for this past year in the year of COVID is how do we stay connected? And in many ways, I think that the pandemic has facilitated an acceleration of our use of technology that has been very beneficial to us as an organization, being able to overcome some of our geographical challenges with our islands being separate. And I know that one of the barriers to our connecting has often been, do we have events on the outer islands? Do we go to Oahu? How does that work? And this year we haven't had to deal with that. It's been great. Let's just all meet online. So that's been really nice. So I'm glad you're here. I do have an agenda for this meeting, and I'm just going to go over that right now. I'm going to start off with, first of all, just a big mahalo to the board members and to all of you, the members that have really allowed us to do what we've been doing for all of these years. It's been a big challenge for us as an organization, going from what seems like just broken relationship after broken relationship in terms of organizational structures. We started off as an organization that was connected to HIAMFT. There was a rupture in that relationship that caused us to become a different HIAMFT affiliated organization. Then HIAMFT basically gave us an ultimatum of, pay us some of your dues or become your own thing. And we opted to become our own thing. And that's how HIAMFT was born. And thanks to the leadership of past presidents like Joy Quick, Glenn Pressel, and Mark Matsushita, we were able to navigate those waters and become HIAMFT legally and still retain our connection to the legislature and the bylaws and all the statutes that we were written into as HIAMFT Hawaii. So we're still legit, which is great. And and this year has really been, I think, one of the most fun years of the most recent years because it's been the opportunity to really grow our base. And so I want to thank you all for being part of that. It is because of you that we exist. So that being said, let me give you the financial report. Okay, let's get to the bottom line of the finances. We've got about $5,599 in the bank. And a lot of that is a carryover from when we were affiliated with HIAMFT. So we've been very cautious with our use of funds over the last couple of years because we've really been trying to figure out what are going to be our revenue streams. Of course, one of the big ones is membership, the dues that we pay to support this organization. And so I'm pleased to report in terms of just an overview of our membership, when I took over in March of this year, we had 72 members. And I'm proud to report that as of today, we have 161 members. That is an increase of 123%. Because now we're not having to deal with all the legalities that Mark had to deal with or the separation that Glenn had to deal with. So this year we could really focus on, let's get people re-motivated to become part of our organization. And just as a note to you about your membership, one of the things that we decided to do was, instead of having rolling membership renewals, in order to make it easier for administration and for just all of us to remember as members, our renewals will be at the end of every year. So at the end of this month, all memberships will be renewed. And, you'll need to renew. It won't be done automatically. But if you renewed midway through this year, your membership should have been prorated. Okay? So all of that was worked out with our website developer. But if you have any questions about your membership renewal, please email Janet Covington, who's our long-term administrative coordinator at hawaiianislandsmfts@gmail.com. You can find that information on our website too, hawaiimft.org, which I would like to say is a thing now because we built that this year. That's another great accomplishment this year is we have a really outstanding website that we invested some money into. And part of that decision came from some prior experiences that I had had in other MFT organizations. And I consulted with those boards and asked them, if you had to do something to really activate your base or to grow your base, what would you do? And they said, well, we would invest in our online presence. That is where things are at. And I'm so glad we did that because this was all pre-pandemic. But now we have this great website where people can log on. They can see our beautiful website. We have a members area where you can log in and you can access cool resources. So it worked out well. It was money well spent. One of the things I wanted to share with you was just as an overview of the condition of HIAMFT, this year we developed 4 main areas to focus on, just in general. And those 4 areas of concentration in 2020 were legislative relationships, fundraising, community connections, and public relations. And so I'm going to go over those 4 just very briefly to give you some of the highlights from 2020 in each of those domains. So in our legislative relationships, I'm very happy to announce, and Joy, feel free if you want to step in here and say something about this, because this is like hot off the presses, very exciting news. One of the things that we have heard from our members very consistently is that there needs to be some sort of a legislative representative, sort of watching over our practice, protecting our license, protecting our ability to earn a living. And we haven't had that to speak of since our last lobbyist retired last year. So we've been kind of hoping that nothing's been cooking in legislative sessions. Unfortunately, because of COVID, there's been a lot of delay in that. So we haven't had too much to worry about, but I'm pleased to announce that in conjunction with, and really Joy, you've done so much work on this. I almost want to ask you to talk about this. Would you mind talking about the HUI?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late today. So several years ago, we tried to put together a mental health HUI to expand the vision and the involvement of all mental health professionals here in the islands. And we had a few meetings, but it just never really got off the ground. However, this year, with all of the events that are happening and the powers that be, the energy, I don't know, the stars aligned, whatever, we have interest now in this mental health HUI amongst the social workers and psychologists and of course the MFTs. And so some of that is that our former lobbyist, Alex Santiago, he represented all 3 organizations. So we're all without a lobbyist. And lobbyists are expensive. We're all sort of struggling with our budget, membership issues, all kinds of things. So there was more interest now. And we've met, gosh, 6 times maybe. And we've been meeting every week for like the last 6 weeks, which is amazing to me that the executive directors of NASW and HPA have been willing to do this. And we're very much aligned in at least protecting our practice so that we're watching bills. So that's the main thing that we're going to probably be doing going into this next session is what's going to happen on the legislative level. We know historically when the budgets are suffering, human services are cut. And we're really concerned about what's going to be available through nonprofits. And we're also hoping to expand our workforce, which is the idea is people that are post-grads that are in supervision, perhaps they could get some reimbursement for their services through insurance companies to kind of share that financial coverage a little bit, not just from the state budget, but from these would be people with insurance that would be able to use their insurance for services. So we have these kind of ideas that we're cooking up together, and it seems like we're all on the same page. So then we put out to a couple of groups the potential for a lobbyist, and we interviewed a person actually last week. She's very interested. She looks like she's going to be affordable, at least this first year. We're looking at probably 20 hours a week, so part-time. And then she's talking about the possibility if it takes more than 20 hours a week, she would bill us hourly for that. We have more to talk about later today. Actually, we'll be getting together with the mental health HUI, but we're that close to deciding, are we going to go forward with this lady? She's not a former legislator, but she's an attorney who has worked within the legislature and the executive branches. And so she knows a lot of people. And of course, that's how it runs in Hawaii, is you got to have relationships, right? And she's got energy. She's enthusiastic. She sees the importance of mental health. So she wants to help people through that mechanism, through her skill set, which is being an attorney. She's been an attorney, gosh, maybe 10 years roughly, maybe a few more than 10 years. So she's not like a new grad. She's local. And so there's a lot of positive aspects that she brings to the table. And so we're hopeful that the next time we come together, or even through an announcement, we can let you know her name, as well as we're ready to go. Of course, the legislature opens the third Wednesday in January, which is coming up really fast. We're going to get through the holidays and then we'll be in January. We don't know yet if it's going to be a virtual opening or if they're going to allow people at the Capitol. They're planning for both contingencies. It's definitely going to be scaled back from the old days when there's a big ceremony and food everywhere and a lot of gatherings and people's agendas being put forth through the rotunda downstairs. But the big issue that we're concerned about, of course, is budget cuts and how that's going to impact our citizens as well as our profession. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Good job. That's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal, right? To move in the direction of us cooperating rather than competing with our mental health brothers and sisters. That's where it's at. And I'm just so glad that I do feel that we as MFTs have taken a leadership position on that, because we were the ones who have been initiating this for a few years. And enjoy, you're so relational, like you're making it happen. Yeah. So we owe you a huge vote of thanks for that.
Well, I love our profession, and I will do whatever I can to further our interest and help our profession survive, help students, graduates. It's very important to me, close to my heart.
Yeah. On to our next domain or area of concentration in 2020, that's fundraising. So this is one area that we're going to focus on in 2021. So it's not a lot to report. We had about $155 in donations all through our website this year. And so it's not a huge number. I wish I could report that it was in the thousands, but hey, it's something. It's a start, right? So that's good. And I'm glad the website was able to facilitate some of that, because historically we've done a lot of either checks or cash, and we're just moving in the direction of the 21st century, which I'm very glad to report. The next area would be community connections. And so, like I mentioned, our new website is one way to facilitate us connecting with the community. I'm assuming that you've all been on it, and that's hopefully how you signed up as a member. And if you go onto our website and log into the members only area, you can access these CEU events. And now these CEU events have really been one of our main ways, in addition to social media, which Christy's going to talk about in a little bit, and I'll mention a little bit something about too. But our CEU events have become a monthly thing that have really, I think, brought people together. Our idea behind them was, hey, we've just reduced basically all of our overhead except for paying for the Zoom and paying for our website. So why don't we try to offer these for free? And we did a little experimenting to see if we could generate some revenue from these. Nothing exorbitant. I think we were charging maybe $10 for a CEU. We couldn't really get much traction there. We tried to lower it to $5. That didn't seem to make any difference. So we said, forget it. Let's just make it free. And if you want to donate some money, you can. The point is just to come get the information. I feel like I've been very fortunate to have a lot of colleagues who've been willing to step into the space of presenting and donating that time to our organization. So we've had a total of 9 events. That's 9 free CEUs that we've offered our members. And our hope is that next year we'll be able to offer 12 events, 12 free CEUs, fingers crossed. Of course, we'll have our conference in January. It'll be on January 16th, which is a Saturday, and that will be 7 CEUs. That's not free per se. There is a free option. We're not trying to gouge people or keep people from getting knowledge and information. If you want to attend that and you just can't afford it right now, come be part of it. You're welcome. Okay. The CEUs are available. Those CEU events are available in the members only area. We've recorded all of them. I did a little, spit and polish on them. So it looked kind of nice with a little intro, little outro. And those are all available on our website. And you can go watch those, fill out the form to let us know that you watched it, and you can get a CEU for it. How cool is that? It's there now for you. So if you didn't have a chance to attend, go watch it. Get all your CEUs in at the end of the triennium. And it's cool to report just some of the numbers. So like I said, we had 9 events and we had a total of 174 attendees across all those events, which averages out to about 20 people per event, which is pretty cool. That's 20 people that are coming together in support of systemic and relational practice across these islands. And we've had some pretty great speakers. We've had Dr. Gay Barfield, who of course is our local national treasure. And we've had other figures such as Dr. Manoj Danishpour, who is a huge social justice proponent. We've had Dr. Adrian Blow, who is who recently authored what is considered sort of a seminal work on couple therapy, released by the HIAMFT and their publishing house. Scott Miller, of course. Scott Miller was great. Yeah, actually, I think Scott was the first one and Gay was the second. Yeah, Scott, he's international and he talks about common factors and deliberate practice. So all these things are recorded in the members only area. Really, go check it out. You'll love them. So those are our community connections, and really those CEU events have been our primary way of trying to connect. But we've also had our public relations campaign, and that has been primarily through social media. And so Christy Chadwick, Dr. Blondine Hawkins, who is here from Chaminade University, and Gina, who is not here right now because she's just got a full life right now, other things she's dealing with. But the 4 of us were the sort of HIAMFT social media squad back in March. And we got together and said, hey, we need to get out there. So I'm going to ask Christy and Dr. Blondine, if maybe you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about our social media campaign. I've got specific numbers that I can share. Maybe you can just give us an overview of why did we do that? Why is it important for HIAMFT to have a social media campaign?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. I feel like the main operative here was to reach out to all graduates, all students, all members, anyone within the profession of MFT, and We started, I think John, you had the Facebook page already going. We had the Instagram, and then we just laid out a plan. And like every month, we decide what we want to put out to the membership, how we want to promote the CEU events, what we really want to inform everybody about, and also to talk more about MFT as a profession. So it's a both and. We get to talk to our colleagues, and we get to talk to the general public about the importance of marriage and family therapy. So about 3 months ago, John has started doing Facebook Lives. So every month we get on there and do a Facebook Live at 1 o'clock Hawaii time on Mondays. And we've had some good participation. I feel like majority of them have been either folks who are coming into the state or people who are newly graduated, have questions about becoming licensed. So it's a nice, just good conversation about mental health and MFT. And sometimes we center it around what's going on that month within the world of mental health. Yeah. And Blondine, I feel like I want you to talk about your amazing artwork that you put together for the Instagram posts, and how you come up with those as well, and what's your strategy. She also does the trivia. I feel like talk about the trivia too.
Thank you, Christy. Yeah, ditto to all of that. I think we really wanted a social media presence a little bit more, and just to kind of penetrate into that sphere, get people excited about things. So there is the trivia post. Oftentimes it's the questions at the beginning of the month, and then the answers halfway through the month or so. And these are questions about our profession. Oftentimes they're foundational ideas, whether it's, general systems theory, or all the the many models we have, and who are all these theorists. And so it was kind of really a fun thing, but also connected to some of the things that you'd see on the licensing exam as well. That's sort of how I had sort of envisioned it, but really a fun way to enhance our understanding of MFT and to continue to champion our profession. And that was really part of the reason we did that. But also the other thing we did towards the beginning of the year was have membership Mondays, and want to really showcase our members. And so I do want to put up, kind of a invitation again out to everybody who would like to be showcased on that membership Monday. We want to celebrate you. We want to tell people about you. We want to show your face and get you out there, right, as our members. But yes, it's been fun, and I have a creative outlet that I enjoy. So
Yeah, I mean, these two are so gifted when it comes to this stuff. It's incredible. I've learned so much. And the importance of all of this is where the next generation of MFTs live. This is how we are going to connect with them. We recognize that in order to grow our base, we really have to connect with those people. And so let me just give you some numbers here. It's kind of fun. So since March, we have made a total of 127 posts on both Facebook and Instagram. That's a lot of posts. That's a lot of content being created. Our Monday Facebook Live events that Christy mentioned have had the greatest reach, with an average of 208 people looking at that at some point. So if you look at our Facebook data, the stats, you'll see these spikes every Monday when we have a Facebook Live. It increases. It's a really important way, an effective way of reaching people. So if you ever want to hop on and just talk story with me casually about anything MFT related, let's just be systemic and relational for 20 or so minutes. I'm happy to do that with you. I think it would be a wonderful, wonderful way for us to get to know each other and for our state to get to know you. So please consider that. Our page likes, oh, this is kind of fun. So looking at Facebook, and I forgot to grab our Instagram stats, but I'll just talk about Facebook. So back in March, before we really started this campaign in earnest, we had 469 likes to our Facebook page. As of this month, we have 673, which is a 43% increase. And then followers, that's people who are actually saying, I like this organization enough that I'm going to like watch all their stuff. So whenever something happens, they're going to get notified. Back in March, we had 462 followers. As of this month, we have 757, which is a 64% increase. So these are some important metrics in terms of how many people are we actually reaching with what it is that we're endorsing, which is marriage and family therapy in the state of Hawaii. So that's our social media campaign. I would say by all accounts, it's proving to be successful and effective in getting people to know who we are. We're reaching people. Another aspect of our organization that we heard members say they would like, in addition to a lobbyist, is a directory. And we have on our website a link to HIAMFT's directory called therapistlocator.net. You may be familiar with that. You may even be on it. But we haven't had our own directory as an organization. Earlier this year, I connected with a colleague who connected me with a school for app developers. And they were doing a pro bono project. They pick an organization every year and say, we're going to donate a group of our students to help this organization. And we were gifted with this opportunity. I worked with, Christy and I worked with this organization to develop some of the, what we thought would be helpful in a directory. And over the course of several months and several meetings and many, many hours on their part of development, they were able to successfully develop a Hawaiian Islands Association for Marriage and Family Therapy directory that is currently for members only. Now, you're the first to hear about this, so I'm going to actually share it with you so you can see what it looks like. Here we go. So here is our very own directory. This is what it's going to look like. And you can go in here and you can do all kinds of searches. You can search by the person's name, their specialization, what they treat, what island they're on, city or zip code, what kind of therapy approach they use, right? What kind of insurance they accept, an age group, what kind of sessions they like to do typically, languages spoken, whether or not they're a supervisor, whether or not they're HIAMFT approved or approved to do it in Hawaii. And so I'll just show you, we have 3 people in here so far. Janet Covington, who's our paid administrative support, she's in here. Vishwani, she's my wife, so of course she's got to be in here. And then I'm in here too. But I want every member to be in here so that we can put this on our website and people can go find MFTs. If you want to refer people specifically to MFTs, then you would send them to this directory. It's also designed for students, MFT students who might be looking for a supervisor. You could go in here and you could search by supervisor status and find somebody. So this is our way of channeling our resources and giving back to our membership to say, hey, we really think we're something important. That's why we have a license as MFTs. And so we wanted to have our own directory that focuses just on MFTs. Now, we might change that at some point. We might want to open it up to other folks, but for now, this is just for us. And if you want to be in this directory, we'll just I'll assume that everyone wants to be in the directory, but because of how it's set up, I have to send you a unique link that you use to log in and sign up. And right now, our developer is working out just a few bugs as we've had the board beta testing it. So it should be ready to roll out fully, I would say, in the new year, in January. Yeah. So that's 2020 in review. I'd love to just open it up for thoughts and questions before I go into 2021.
I just want to say great job. I know you're working with very few resources and you've got a lot of other stuff going on, and that website is really beautiful. I think we're all going to benefit. So thank you.
Awesome.
Good job.
Oh, thank you so much, Christine.
Yeah, very, very impressive. I'm very impressed. Yeah, nice job.
Thanks, Mitch.
Appreciate your enthusiasm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Joy too. Hi, Joy.
Yeah, it's really been great to just have so many amazing people supporting this. Early in the pandemic, we were holding
Mhm.
regular meetings. We tried to create a lot of support for MFTs as we were in that phase of sort of transitioning out of face-to-face practice. There were a lot of questions about insurance and modifier codes and all kinds of things that I'd really rather not have gotten into. But we wandered into that territory, and by the good graces of everyone coming together, we were able to pull together some of our resources and some solid information. And HBA also helped a lot too, the Hawaii Psychological Association.
Mhm.
I just want to say thanks also, John. You are pulling people together. You know, there's a long history
Yeah.
of our organization burning out the president, and everything was on that person's shoulders, and then we never saw them again.
Yeah.
And you're doing such a great job of building teamwork and pulling people in to create a bigger vision that's not just on your shoulders,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
creating a real organization. So thank you so much for your effort.
That is a perfect segue into our 2021 discussion, because that is exactly right. That is the vision for 2021. So we've got our base that's larger than it was last year. Fantastic. Now what? Or so what? What are you going to do with it? So this is where we really need to focus in 2021 on member engagement. That includes people getting on the board, people bringing their gifts to the organization. We've, as an organization, tried to do our best to give to our members, and now I feel like we need to have the reciprocity, because we have a board that has been dedicated to being the board throughout this transition from away from HIAMFT and now into HIAMFT. And so we have positions and we have needs on the board. So we need you to bring your gifts to us that we can then hui and figure out how to best use to benefit our members and ultimately our clients, right? Because that's ultimately what this is all about, is we want to better serve the community. So we've decided as a board, to some extent, we're not going to worry so much about positions as we are just getting people who are gifted to bring those gifts to the board. So, we do have positions that are available. Like, eventually, I would like somebody to take over for me. We are going to need a president-elect. We need a treasurer, somebody who's going to take care of Excel spreadsheets and bank accounts. We need those positions filled, but we're not going to worry about that as much. Just show up to our meetings. We have a monthly board meeting. If you would like to participate, let me know, let Janet know, and we'll get you that information and join our meetings. It's not a huge time commitment, really. There are all kinds of different ways that you can be part of our organization and really contribute in a meaningful way. We also need to raise funds. We need some cash, right? We got to pay for a website. We got to pay for a lobbyist. We want to maintain our administrative support that's consistent through all of our organizational iterations. That's Janet Covington. So we're going to have to focus much more on fundraising this next year. So I think, this is just my thought. I'm open to others having opinions about this, and that's where I really want to draw on your experience and your expertise. What other things do you think would be important in 2021? Aaron, let me just read what Aaron said here. Aaron said he'd be interested to connect with other MFTs and learn how everyone is using the MFT theories in practice. Now that he's been in practice for a couple of years and weathered the storm of initial startup, I'm now interested in reconnecting with my MFT community, mainly to dialogue about the practice of MFT. Great. I think those monthly CEU events are the way to go. That's at least one way to go for sure, Aaron. So be sure to show up for those. Next month, we're going to have our conference. That'll be okay. Thanks, Christine. Take care. Aloha. So yeah, we'll definitely get some more MFT theories going for you. Other folks, other things that you think you'd want in 2021 or you think we need in 2021 as an organization?
Well, let me say something.
Thanks. Chris.
Okay. Well, we've been doing, we started the Hawaiian Islands Group Psychotherapy Society. So we've been doing a Monday group for professionals, sort of cross lines. It's a small group. We've had psychiatrists, MFTs, different people. I don't know if there's something like that you might want to do. I'd be happy if you ever wanted to have a group run some sort of sharing, especially during COVID times. And sort of that's what we've been focused on is working with that, with COVID fatigue, burnout, some of those kinds of ideas, the psychological first aid. I have a really nice PowerPoint too, and if you would like something done with that, I'd be happy to do something with that.
Are you saying, Mitch, that you're volunteering for one of our monthly?
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So the interplay between, I've been fascinated between the interplay between, between family work and group dynamics. Because where I started with mentally ill, that was really the key. We set up a group program, but then the part that was missing was the family piece, that some of these people would go home and then they'd come apart again. And so the teaching had not gone on to the families. So there's a lot of ideas from group that I use working with families also. So that's another way for the person who was interested in looking at theories more. So those are some things I've been thinking about. Yeah.
Mitch, thank you so much. You signed up. I have it recorded here, so you can't back out now.
All right, I'm good.
But it's a good reminder. I think I forgot to mention that I would love to draw on our local experts, all of you. If you have something that you do that you feel you're actually pretty good at, one, don't be shy. Like, it's okay to say, yeah, I'm good at this. And two, please share that with us. Let's make it one of our monthly CEU events. Let's feature you and your expertise. I know you're gifted clinicians. I know you've got something that you're really good at. So hit me up. Let me know. Let Janet know. Just let us know. Let us talk about what it might be about, and we'll see if we can't get you set up.
John, if I may.
Please, Kanoa.
Aloha, everybody. Aloha, mai kako. I'm Kanoa, calling in from Molokai. Hi, Professor. Good to see you. I'm a new guy to all of this, so I was just kind of doing what I do, sit back, listen. But if you're asking what I might like to see in this upcoming year, although I'm sure the world has changed forever because of COVID, but a lot of us that have had to go into Zoom and in a lot of ways disconnect from the style of living that we once had. If things do get better this coming year and we are able to reconnect, not just as people, but as MFTs, I would love to see that reconnection happen, not just like, getting back into the workplace and meeting with your colleagues and your clients again, but reconnecting to nature, reconnecting to Akua, opening up a space where we can talk about the soul or the spirit. If this year, fingers crossed, becomes the year where we can come back on the scene and reconnect, what if it was like a heavy reconnection more than just back in the office? What if it was a connection of mind, body, spirit, getting your toes into the aina, I don't know. I'm speaking on my Hawaiian side. I'm a practitioner and a Ho'oku'ukaheva and Ho'oponopono practitioner. Those things are important to connect to. So that's what I'm hoping to see for this year. That plugin to be boom shakalaka.
Yeah.
That's all.
I would like to ask Kanoa if you would share some of those Hawaiian practices for a CE event sometime. We would love to hear about Ho'oponopono.
I would be open to it as long as my kumus give me permission to. Then yes, sure. I'm a Lua practitioner and a Ho'oku'ukaheva practitioner, so I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a real gift, without a doubt. I'd love to add the Hawaiian into the Hawaiian Islands Association. You know, I'm just part Portuguese, so that doesn't offer too much, you know. That's great. Kanoa, I think it's a really amazing idea to, I really respect and appreciate the idea of deepening our practice. You know, thinking of 2020 as the pulling away from, and then sort of that tide really coming in, you know. Makes a lot of sense to me. And I think it's entirely possible, if not probable, with a little bit of guidance on our part. So I'm taking note of that.
I think Kanoa brings up a really important point. One of the biggest things going on with the American group psychotherapy is the thing of social justice. And as one of the leaders says, he says, you can't have mental health without social justice. And I think about that a lot. And also the idea of the BIPOC, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. I've been thinking a lot about the Indigenous part, because the Indigenous is the land, right? That even Black people, when they came to the US as slaves, they lost their land. And that was, so that connection is huge. And I think what Kanoa is saying is really a big topic, because I sometimes think about in therapy or in groups, I think, where's the aina in this? Where's the connection to the land, you know? And we have a huge world epidemic of you know, putting too much carbon in the air and destroying our weather and our climate, you know, and how do we bring that in the same way as white therapists working with white clients? How do you bring the idea of social justice? How do we bring those concepts into our world? Yeah, and that's, I've been thinking about this stuff a lot. Yeah, so I think that's really important. I thank you, Kanoa, for bringing that up. Yeah.
So I want to just offer that we did have Dr. Manoj Danishpour speak on being socially just therapists, how to talk about these issues in psychotherapy. And that is a CEU event that's recorded and available on the membership.
Okay, we'll look at that
website. Yeah. It's an outstanding talk. And also for Aaron, I just remembered that Dr. Jim Nelson spoke, another CEU event that's recorded. I'd highly recommend you go watch that. Give you some real solid foundational content for MFT theories. Very powerful, you know. So good. These are things I'm taking note of, and we'll get on those. For 2022, just looking that far ahead, there is one thing that I would love to see in my lifetime for MFTs, and that is I would love for us to have a training license that allows pre-licensed post-degree people to bill insurance and get paid. Because it's really hard for you to earn a living after you've graduated. And it's hard to be able to get good clinical practice and earn a living after you graduated if you can't do what a lot of people do in the mainland, which is they find a mentor that has a license, that's qualified to supervise, and they bill insurance through that supervisor's license. And they work together and they develop a really tight relationship. So that person gets their hours, they get paid. The supervisor benefits because they have somebody there that they can help take on more clients and help boost the practice. It's a very symbiotic relationship, and we need to do that here. So that is my hope that in 2022, we can seriously look at introducing some legislation to move that forward. I am, again, just so grateful for the opportunity to share this time with you. And gosh, I really hope someday we get to meet in person again. And if you're open for hugs, I'll give you a big old hug. If you just want to do a fist bump, that's cool too. But I will say mahalo nui loa for all of your support this year. And I wish you a very happy new year. So mele kalikimaka and haoli makahi.